Every February, we're told the same story that Valentine's Day is about romance, about flowers and chocolates and handwritten notes and grand gestures of love. But the truth? Valentine's Day didn't start with love. It didn't start with romance. And it definitely didn't start with hearts. It started with execution, fertility rituals, and a church trying to clean up a mess. Today, we're peeling back the pink glitter and getting to the real story of Valentine's Day. A story so strange that if it weren't well documented, you'd swear I made it up. To understand Valentine's Day, you have to go back, way back, to ancient Rome, but not the Rome of marble statues and poetry, the Rome of blood sport, superstition, and ritual. Every year in mid February, Romans celebrated a festival called lupercalia. This was not a sweet holiday. The ritual went something like this. Young priests would sacrifice goats and dogs. They'd strip the hides into leather straps, and then, naked or nearly naked, they would run through the streets, whipping women with the straps. Well, here's the part that shocks most modern audiences. Women wanted to be struck. It was believed to increase fertility and ensure healthy pregnancies. Oh, and then came the lottery. Women's names were placed into jars. Men drew them out, and whatever name they pulled, that was your partner for the festival. And well, sometimes even longer. This was Rome's version of Valentine's Day. No hearts, no vows, no exclusivity. Just ritualized chaos in the name of survival. By the 3rd century, Christianity was spreading, and Rome was not happy about it. The Roman Empire tolerated many religions, but Christianity posed a unique threat. It rejected Roman gods, it rejected Roman authority, and it rejected Roman social norms. Which brings us to Claudius II, Emperor of Rome. According to later Christian tradition, Claudius believed that unmarried men made better soldiers. They weren't distracted by wives or children, and they didn't hesitate to go to war. So, as the story goes, Claudius banned marriages for young men. And that's where Valentine enters the story. But which Valentine? Because here's the first major twist. There wasn't one Saint Valentine. There were multiple Valentines living around the same time, whose stories eventually all blended together. But the most famous one is Saint Valentine, believed to be a Christian priest. And according to legend, Valentine secretly performed marriages for young couples, defying imperial law. And when he was discovered, he was arrested. And while imprisoned, he allegedly healed the jailer's blind daughter. And before his execution, he sent her a note and signed it, "From your Valentine." On February 14th, around the year 269 AD, Valentine was executed, not for love, but for defying the state and spreading Christianity. At this point, February 14th had nothing to do with romance. It was simply the feast day honoring a Christian martyr. But there was a problem. The church was trying to convert a population that really liked Lupercalia. Rather than abolish the festival outright, church leaders did what they often did. They rebranded it. By the late 5th century, Pope Gelasius officially replaced Lupercalia with St. Valentine's Day. Same time of year, different meaning. Instead of fertility rituals, you had saints, and instead of lotteries, you had prayer. On paper, it worked. In reality, the old customs never fully disappeared. They just changed costumes. Here's something that surprises a lot of people. Valentine's Day was not associated with romantic love for centuries. For most of the Middle Ages, February 14th was just another saint's day. This shift didn't really happen until the 14th century, and we can thank poets for that, especially Geoffrey Chaucer. In his writings, Chaucer connected Valentine's Day with the idea that birds chose their mates in mid-February, and that poetic image stuck. Suddenly, Valentine's Day became associated with courtly love, secret admirers, chivalry, and idealized romance. Not reality, but aspiration. And by the 15th century, people were exchanging handwritten Valentine notes. One of the earliest known Valentines was written in 1415 by Charles, Duke of Orleans, while imprisoned in the Tower of London. He wrote poetry to his wife. Not roses, not candy, words. For centuries, Valentine's Day remained a modest personal affair until the industry got involved. Fast forward to the 19th century. Industrial printing makes cards cheap and accessible. Mass production kicks in, advertising takes hold, and companies realize something powerful. If you convince people that love must be proved, then you can sell them the proof. By the early 20th century, Valentine's Day had fully transformed into what we recognize today. Cards, flowers, jewelry, chocolate, pressure. A holiday once rooted in ritual death and rebellion became one of the most profitable consumer events of the year. When you strip it all down, Valentine's Day isn't about romance. It's about control. Control over bodies, control over belief, control over behavior. Rome used ritual to control fertility and society, and the church used saints to control belief and morality. And modern culture uses marketing to control expectations. And somehow, through all of that, love survived anyway. Not because it was commanded, not because it was sold, but because humans keep finding ways to attach meaning where they need it most. So this Valentine's Day, whether you celebrate it, hate it, or ignore it entirely, just remember, this holiday didn't begin with hearts. It began with blood, rebellion, and reinvention. And maybe that makes it more honest than we give it credit for. Bear out.